The power moves coming recently from the SEC and the Big Ten are going to force Notre Dame and the Big 12 and the ACC to move quickly as they risk becoming irrelevant. We're going to look into our crystal ball right here. Locked On Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer. And I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hit that free subscribe button down below, please. That way you'll never miss another episode. Share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten. We're making a push to 20,000 subscribers, so please help us out there. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. We got a follow-up to yesterday's podcast. If you missed it, go check it out. It was a little anti-NCAA pro super conference podcast conversation, if you will. And now we're going to look into the future of the Big Ten. Plus, we'll look at recruiting, got some big news out there, and some kickoff times to some of your favorite games for week one, and our Pigskin Picks. Yes, you heard right. Our Pigskin Picks at the end of May. So we've always been convinced here that the end game for all this craziness in college football is going to result in an expanded Big Ten SEC Super Conference. But however, we don't think it's really going to happen till the next round of conference TV contracts get done at the end of this decade. About another 4 or 5 years to go. But things seem to be moving at such a fast pace here. I think the Super Conference come together sooner than later. I mean, we can see it happening before our very eyes. That was our point to yesterday's Locked On Big Ten podcast, and nobody else is seeing it. I don't want to be the lone voice crying wolf out here, but I'll go over it here again today. And overall, I think this is bad news for Notre Dame, the ACC, and the Big 12, and I will tell you why. But current Big Ten teams, nothing to worry about here. They're in the catbird seat, and nobody's getting kicked out. Nobody's getting evicted. Nobody's getting relegated from the Big Ten. So schools like Rutgers and Northwestern and Purdue have nothing to worry about for now. Everydayers here on Locked On Big Ten, they're very knowledgeable on this subject. Bear with me as I catch everybody up. It's our position that the Big Ten and the SEC will expand and realign one more time, join forces, and it'll be like the NFL with an AFC and an NFC, a Big Ten and an SEC. Okay? And they may or may not continue to play crossover games in the regular season, but there will be conference playoffs and a super conference championship at the end of the year, and that'll be the only championship that matters in all of college football. So you're either in this or you're left out. That's how it's going to be. Do you need further evidence that this is already happening? Because I throw some facts on it. It's already coming together. It's already being stitched together. First of all, the SEC is going to expand from 8 conference games to 9 conference games. The reason they are doing that is to match the Big Ten because they are already doing that. That's going to keep things even and fair between the two when they ultimately take control of the college football playoff format after this season, and they start divvying up automatic qualifying spots. 4 teams each, perhaps. We'll see how that works out. Do you need more evidence? Well, the 2 conferences are already drawing up plans to schedule games between each other every year in the regular season in marquee non-conference games. You don't think that'll get huge ratings? Of course it will. So you're getting a sneak peek of that, by the way, when Texas opens up the 2025 season against Ohio State. That game is the future of college football. And let's not forget, while we're not at a Big Ten SEC Super Conference yet, the 2 conferences already have an alliance. They call it an alliance. Every time there's a meeting of college football commissioners, the Big Ten commissioner, Tony Petitti, and the SEC commissioner, Greg Sankey, they circle back after the meeting with everybody else, and those two circle back and meet. It's happened numerous times before. Just the two of them. Why is that? What are they doing? They're making sure that they are on the same page and that they strategize for the next round of meetings with everybody else to make sure the Big Ten and the SEC's interests are being served first and foremost above everybody else, and that includes overall college football. Just as all this is happening with all these changes taking place in college football and all this writing on the wall, we're going to be approaching a time when a school like Florida State, and here's the key part, here's where the thread comes out of the sweater and the whole thing unravels for everybody else, and then we get pushed into super conference status. And this is something we love talking about here on Lockdown Big Ten. A school like Florida State, they're going to run the clock on this horrible ACC media rights deal that they're in. I know they just made a settlement to calm things down for about 5 years, but after that, they're going to reach a more manageable threshold where the cost for Florida State to leave the ACC is just going to be just low enough to weigh the cost of staying in the ACC's horrible, low-paying deal compared to other conferences, and they're going to leave. They're just waiting for this. It's going to be by the end of this decade. As soon as they leave, Clemson's going to leave. Then North Carolina. Then Miami. And these teams are going to be seeking shelter in either the Big Ten or the SEC. Now, suddenly, the ACC is just going to crumble because ESPN won't have enough marquee ACC schools in their inventory to broadcast. I mean, they can bring other schools in, Tulane or whoever, whatever they want. That's not going to get it done. It's not going to bring eyeballs to TV. It's not going to get ratings. So, and then, you know what's going to happen over in the Big 12? All their top-tier teams are going to see what's going on, and they're like, we can't be the last man standing. This is a game of musical chairs, and when the music stops, we got to be somewhere. And a couple of those teams are going to get nervous, and they're going to come over to the Big Ten and or the SEC. Who's it going to be? It's going to be Baylor, Kansas, Arizona, maybe Oklahoma State, TCU, Colorado, Iowa State, BYU, and Utah. Who's going to be the first to jump? Somebody's going to jump, and a few more are going to come with them, but not everybody can come over because not everybody adds value to the Big Ten and the SEC. So who's it going to be? At that point, whoever's left, Big 12, going to crumble. All right? Then won't have any marquee teams left either. So that leaves us with Notre Dame. Where are they in this scenario? Like everybody else, they're going to have to join the super conference or die, wither away, or be irrelevant. Notre Dame doesn't want to be irrelevant. So say goodbye to independence, because at that point, when all these other things happen, the old ways of doing business, they're done. And for all you Golden Domers out there who ripped me in the comment section yesterday, like you always do, I expect more of the same from you today. So let's have it. Let's have it. At that point, you have nowhere else to go. Notre Dame's going to have to join a conference. I mean, listen, you can hang on to your overrated college football independence, but you're going to be playing Liberty and Tulane and Army all year long because you're not going to be able to schedule anybody else because they're all going to be associated with the super conference. Again, you need proof. It's already happening, Notre Dame. Your 100-year-long series with USC is coming to an end, isn't it? Yeah, it's already happening. So, you want to know what's ironic about all this Big Ten SEC super conference talk? Remember, we talked about this in yesterday's podcast, that memorandum of understanding that was signed by all the conferences. This is what allows the Big Ten and the SEC to call all the shots regarding the future of college football with the playoff format following the 2025 season. You know, up till now, last year and this year, everything had to be unanimous, and all the decision makers. After this year, it's Big Ten and the SEC decide what format we're going to do with the playoffs, what's going to be the best for college football. Everybody signed it. Big 12, ACC, Notre Dame, Group of Six, they all signed it because at the time, the Big Ten and the SEC had all the leverage, and everybody was afraid that they were going to go leave and do their own thing and make them irrelevant. And yet, that very memorandum may be the item that facilitates the Big Ten and the SEC into creating their own super conference after all. They're going to leave anyway. I'm telling you right now, they're going to make their own super conference. Hit me up on the comments. Let me know what you think. Pretty interesting topic today as we looked into our crystal ball of the Big Ten and college football. Be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. You'll never miss an episode, and you can share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten. We're making a big push to 20,000 subscribers before the start of the college football season. We started with 1,000 like almost 2 years ago. That close to 20,000. We're ready to roll. Thank you to you who have already done that. Don't forget to check out our website, talkbig10.com, the number 10. All of our podcasts go there. Plus, you can get merchandise from your favorite Big Ten school getting ready for the 2025 season. Again, Talk Big Ten. Still, we got a lot of ground to cover here today, a lot of interesting stuff. First of all, Nick Saban is talking about Ohio State quarterback Julian Sayin. So what did he say? We got some recruiting news. We'll get updated on softball College World Series. Also, the men's baseball regional. All that coming up. Plus, we have odds in our Pigskin Picks. What are we doing? Pigskin Picks. What are you talking about? It's the end of May. We got all the lines and the point totals for week one for your favorite Big Ten team. We're going to have some fun with that, like the good old days. So all that's coming up in 1 minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. FanDuel, NBA playoffs, NBA finals. Let's put them all together and have some fun. It's full swing. It's ready to go. All these games in the NBA with major momentum shifts and 20-point leads that are blown. Nobody's out of it. Be in on the action with FanDuel. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game, either if you have all organized before tip-off or you're in game and you got a hunch and you want to go. Player props, performance trends, same game parlays, all right there. I keep telling you to watch Tyrese Halliburton of the Pacers, SGA of Oklahoma City. Take the over on all his numbers. Another amazing stat line the other night against Minnesota. You can get in on that and have some big winnings. And how does a $200 bonus and bets add to your excitement and all this? If your first $5 bet hits, you bet it hits. That's going to be a blast. Sign up now. If you're new, here's what you do. It's a perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com, place your first $5 bet. If it hits, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thanks for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day. Especially you everydayers out there that make this go. Meanwhile, make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below. It's free. Or push to 20,000 before the start of football season. Be a part of it. Share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten, your team every day. And check out our website, talkbig10.com. Podcasts and merchandise right at your fingertips. All right, so former Alabama head coach Nick Saban, he recruited Ohio State quarterback Julian Sayin before he transferred to Ohio State. But then Saban retired like 2 weeks after signing day. And so Sayin bolted out of there. Sayin will be the last 5-star quarterback that Nick Saban signed during his illustrious career. But when Saban retired, Sayin moved on, and he went to Ohio State. So remember, he had a relationship with Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien bouncing around Alabama, Ohio State briefly, very briefly. And then before he left, Sayin was already there at Ohio State. Redshirted last year behind Will Howard during the national championship run for the Buckeyes. And he's ready to go to be QB1 if he officially beats out veteran Lincoln Keenholz. But Saban loves Sayin. He loves Sayin's work ethic, and he was glad to see him land at Ohio State. Saban said he's friends with Ryan Day, but he got a little Buckeye in him because for what was a year from 80 to 81, 2 years. Saban was a defensive backs coach at Ohio State. He's always got a little Buckeye, and I'm kind of rooting for them. So that was cool. Meanwhile, on the recruiting front, tough blow for Mike Loxley and the Maryland Terps. Their 5-star safety, Jarrett Edwards. He's from the state of Maryland, and the Terps had a good shot at him. But he just recently crossed the Terps off his list. He's down to Oregon and Auburn and Florida and A&M as his final 4 schools. So tough deal there for the Terps. Then there's 4-star corner Dorian Barney. He said he will announce his decision where he is going to play on July 5th. He's down to his final 4, a couple Big Ten schools, Michigan and Penn State. Texas A&M and Georgia Tech also on the list. He's from Georgia. Got 50 offers already. Man, down to the final 5. How do you get from 50 down to 4? That's some tough work. USC's getting a visit from 5-star safety Jet Washington as well. Got some kickoff times that the Big Ten released, some to make note of, and we've talked a lot about the Texas-Ohio State game. It's going to stay at noon on Saturday. There was some talk about maybe moving it to Sunday to get it to prime time. Texas didn't want any part of it. So, going to stay at noon so far on Big Noon Kickoff on Fox. But Michigan opens up its season with back-to-back night games. Ohio State would love that. Ohio State's begging for a night game, but they keep getting scheduled at noon. Michigan's home opener against New Mexico going to kick off the Big House at 7:30 NBC. So NBC Saturday night, college football. Big Ten Saturday night. I can hear that jingle in my head again for the open. Love it. Bryce Underwood's going to make his debut on national TV on Saturday night. How about that? Their second game at Oklahoma. That's Sharon Moore's alma mater. That's also going to be a night game, 7:30 on ABC. So, and then Michigan's Big Ten opener a couple weeks after that will be at Nebraska. And I'll be without Sharon Moore, right? Because he's serving the 2-game suspension. That game, CBS has already picked it up. That'll be a 3:30 kickoff. That's week 4. Michigan State's opener will continue their recent tradition of opening up on Friday nights. And they'll have their kickoff for their game against Western Michigan. This is the Big Ten released this on Thursday officially now. Will be at 7 p.m., not 7:30, 7 p.m. Friday. And that'll be on FS1. Catch that game. Probably my friend Tim Brando calling that game, I would imagine. Since 2011, Michigan State has opened on Friday every season, but 2 of them, and 11 of those 15 have been at Spartan Stadium. Home Friday night openers, kind of the new, semi-recent new tradition at Michigan State. All right, let's get you caught up on a couple of things. Been keeping an eye with excitement on the Women's College World Series because there's the Big Ten teams involved at Oklahoma City, Oregon, and UCLA. Now, full disclosure for this here Friday podcast, as we are recording right here on Thursday night, we don't know the result of that game yet. So we'll find out. We'll get into it. Probably make our top 10 Big Ten observations at the very least on Monday. And we'll see who got into the elimination round and who got into the winning round. I can tell you that earlier on Thursday, I watched Texas did beat Florida, 3 solo home runs by the Longhorns. They won 3-0 in that game. Oklahoma beat Tennessee 4-3. But as we're talking right now, Tennessee Tech is taking on Ole Miss, and then later on tonight, where I'm at, the Oregon game, as they take on UCLA. That'll cap the first round of the College World Series for the women. Men's tournament starting today, Friday. We're switching gears from Thursday to Friday. For Friday. And Nebraska's going to be in Chapel Hill. And they're going to take on Oklahoma in the Chapel Hill Regional. And they'll move on. Don't forget they got North Carolina and Holy Cross in that regional. Oregon going to stay there in the Eugene Regional. Going to take on Utah Valley here today, early Friday. Poly and Arizona, Cal Poly and Arizona going to be the other 2 teams. UCLA still at home as well, taking on Fresno State. They will deal with Arizona State and UC Irvine, the other 2 teams there. And USC in Corvallis taking on TCU. Oregon State and St. Mary's are the other 2 teams in that bracket to contend with. The winner of these regionals will move on to the super regional sites June 6th through the 9th. And then a chance to go to the College World Series, which begins June 13th. We'll keep keeping an eye on those Big Ten teams as they stay alive. All right, at the end, we always like to do some features, and I'm excited about today. Don't forget Mondays, top 10 Big Ten observations. Tuesdays, we do Tuesday tweets. Wednesdays, we like to power rank stuff. Thursdays, we look ahead to Big Ten classics and live action for the Big Ten Network. And Fridays, we do Pigskin Picks during the season. Basketball picks during the season. Kind of in the offseason, we look at odds and futures and props and stuff like that. But the lines are out for week 1 for almost every Big Ten team. So we will have an unofficial soft launch of our first Pigskin Picks for the 2025 season, week 1. That is next on Locked On Big Ten. All right, this is not a typo or anything. We are going to do some pigskin picks here. Week 1, we got some lines. We're going to take a look at them and do a soft launch. We'll go full screen with the graphic. If you're on audio only, we'll describe them in detail with what's going on. So here are the lines for the opening week. We start off with the Wisconsin Badgers hosting Miami of Ohio. They're 16.5-point favorites. Look at the over-under, a low number, 41.5. So Vegas saying Wisconsin going to win by more than a couple touchdowns, but we're not going to have a lot of points in this ball game. I am curious to see what Wisconsin's offense looks like, and I do think also like Vegas, it's going to be a low-scoring game. I like this number at 41.5. I don't know about winning by 16.5. Buffalo at Minnesota taking on the Golden Gophers. A lot going on here. First of all, the Gophers are a huge 18.5-point favorite. Over under at 46.5. I kind of like where that's at as well. Here's an interesting one. Nebraska they open up on the road, of course, at Cincinnati. Nebraska is almost a touchdown favorite, 6.5-point favorite in this game, and the over-under at 50.5. I am so excited to take a look at Dylan Raiola in year number 2 of his career at Nebraska and see what he does. I'm expecting big things from him this year, and I like Nebraska in that game. But I think that's going to be one of the better opening week games on the Big Ten slate. Obviously, everybody's going to be interested in like Texas and taking on Ohio State and whatnot. But yeah, I think that's a game to look at. That's a good gauge game early for Nebraska early on. Western Michigan is at Michigan State. Aiden Childs going into year 2 as the quarterback. Jonathan Smith, year 2. I was reading something. It was just online stuff today. I was reading somebody that I was reading expects Michigan State. It says look for them to be the big improvement team in the Big Ten this year. 18.5-point favorites in this game, and the over-under right at 49.5. What else we got? Colorado State at Washington. Washington, a comfortable 18.5-point favorite. Expecting a lot of Big Ten blowouts in week 1. The over-under at 51.5. I might take the over on that one. I'm very excited about Damon Williams. Damon Williams Jr., the quarterback there at Washington. I'm expecting him to take a huge step forward. Missouri State is at USC. Look at that spread. 32.5 for the Trojans. And the blowout, take the over at 57.5. Generally, take the overs with USC. They have some high-scoring games. I do like that. All right, let's turn the page. Florida Atlantic is at Maryland. We just talked about the Terps in our recruiting segment a minute ago. I don't know how many games they're going to win. They only won 4 last year, but Vegas thinks they're winning this one big, 16.5 with the over-under at 55.5. So expect a high-scoring game there. Here's that Texas-Ohio State game. In case you were curious, the Buckeyes are 3.5-point favorites. Home field's worth 3. So right there, looking it probably will be a close game. But I do like the Buckeyes in this one. 51.5 is the number. New Mexico at Michigan. We had this number in last week's show because this was the first line that came out. 34.5 for Michigan and 51.5 for the total. Now keep in mind a couple of things here. Clearly, Michigan will win. And I do this a lot with Michigan, particularly early in the season. They'll win, but they might not cover. 34.5 is a lot. And they might not get to 51.5. And I'll tell you what. Like I said, typically, you remember 2 years ago during Harbaugh's run, where they're warming up for the national championship, everybody's saying, yeah, they're winning, but they're only winning by 18 points. They're not covering spreads. Michigan can do that because they run the ball a lot. They burn more clock. They play good defense. So the unders hit. And keep in mind, this is going to be Bryce Underwood's first game ever. It's going to be under the lights, national TV. Look, he's not going to light it up right out of the box. If he does, then look out. But yeah, maybe Michigan taking a half to get used to stuff, right? So they win, but they do not cover the 34.5. I don't think that's my preliminary. Look, I got like 3 months to change my mind. But yeah, they don't cover, and I take the under slightly. Meanwhile, Old Dominion at Indiana. Indiana should win big. They're 23.5. They're getting some criticism again for an easier non-conference schedule. Take the over on Hoosier games, 54.5. They like to score a lot of points, even though they'll have a new quarterback this year. Nevada at Penn State. Nittany Lions, 45.5-point favorites. I mean, the offense, look at that, over under 59.5. They should be fine-tuned. They got Drew Aller, year 4. Their running back duo, Singleton and Allen, there for 4 years together. They got some receivers. The defense is always going to be good. So I like them to cover that number. Now, their defense might be so good that I don't know, unless they score 59.5 on their own. I'm not saying it's going to be a shutout, but you know what I'm saying? The defense is going to hold Nevada down. So Penn State's going to have to score a lot of points to cover that over. Northwestern is at Tulane. Tulane's actually favored there by 7.5. I don't expect out of Northwestern this year. The number's at 46.5. Got a couple more to look at here. Ball State at Purdue. Purdue didn't win much last year. They need to win this one, though, against Ball State. Will they cover the 16.5? Brand new coach, new system, new quarterback. I don't know if they cover the 16.5 and the 50.5 as well. Maybe I would lean toward the under. Utah at UCLA. Utah is favored. This is going to be a good game. This is a good Jersey game. Good program. Two well-known programs, Utah and UCLA, going at it at the Rose Bowl. Utah is a 3.5-point favorite. The number at 51.5. Look, it all comes down to Nico Iamaleava. How quickly is he adjusted, and how much of a difference does he make for the UCLA offense right away? That'll be the key in this game. And then look at the little asterisks at the end. We already got a line for the Ohio State-Michigan game in November. Right now, Ohio State a 5.5-point favorite, and the number at 47.5. That's probably right on the mark with the 47.5. I don't know. Does Ohio State, they can't lose 5 straight, right? They can't. I can't wait, but that's not till like November 29th or 30th or something like that. That's way down the road. Anyway, that's our Pigskin Picks. Those point spreads brought to you from FanDuel, our favorite sports book, and glad to have them aboard here as a sponsor as always. So that's it, our Pigskin Picks. What do you think? What do you think about these lines? Let me know. And be glad to hear from you. Many ways to reach out to this podcast. First of all, there's Twitter, X, at Talk Big Ten. We also have our website, talkbig10.com. All of our podcasts are there, and there's a link at the bottom for you to buy your favorite Big Ten team merchandise. Whatever you do, before you go for the weekend, hit that subscribe button, please. Help us make that push to 20,000 subscribers. It's free. It never requires any information, and you're right there. And that way you never miss a single episode. Feel free to go catch a second listen to yesterday's episode or day before if you missed that as well. I also invite you to check out our friend Brian Smith on the Portal Show. He's got all that information. Who's coming, who's going, where, all that stuff. In the meantime, good luck to all the Big Ten baseball and softball teams going out there. And we'll be back on Monday with the latest on everything. All Big Ten, all 18 teams, all sports, news, opinion, analysis. We're the only podcast in the world that is unique like that right here with the Big Ten. So tell your friends about us that we're here each and every day. Have yourself a great weekend. Next time we talk, it'll be June. We're that much closer to football. June is here. Have a good weekend. For Locked On Big Ten, I'm Craig Sheeman.